Thank you. Congressman Snyder.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you, Mr. Bernanke, Dr. Bernanke, for being here. I don't often agree with things that my friend from Texas, Mr. Brady, says, but at the beginning of the hearing he said that you had quelled the panic at the end of 08 and 09, and I think that may be a phrase you want to remember. He quelled the panic. That could be tombstone material. So you might want to say that, tell your heirs to remember that phrase, and decades from now when you're looking for something. On page 4 of your statement, you said the financial conditions of banking firms, or the financial condition of banking firms has strengthened markedly. And what I want to ask about is the more amorphous of ethics in banking. And what concerns me is this. If I want to buy a car, I will study who puts out the best car. And the manufacturers and the dealers, they stand by their service, they stand by their product. If I'm looking for someone to paint my house, I ask around about who does the best job of painting houses, and I'll get references, and I'll go talk to people about, yes, this person did the best job of painting my house. And the providers of a product, the providers of services, they work to put a product that satisfies me. It seems to me that we've got a situation with major players in the financial services industry that they work for ways that their customers will be unsuccessful. Now, what do I mean by that? Well, the one that we're probably most familiar with now is that I'm a Bank of America customer, and they're probably tired of me talking about them at these hearings. But, you know, the computer program, this happened to me. I didn't go into the late fees or anything, but I just look at it online. Banks closed on Good Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and look at a Monday, and all the debit card purchases I did through the weekend, regardless of when I did them, are processed in the order with the largest first, from the $300 down to the $3.65 coffee at Starbucks or something. And we all know what that's about. The goal is to drive people unknowingly into overdraft fees. They want me to fail as a customer. Now, if that's how they're treating, I think what the studies show about, they make most of their money on overdraft fees from 14% of their customers. But they're preying on people, hoping that we don't succeed at managing our money. Now, then we've had this history over the last several years that led into this problems of loans that should never have been made, but they make them and then sell them so that then they can walk away from their mistakes, and they then don't care about whether they succeed or not. So my question is, you've done a great job at quelling the panic, and I think that history is going to treat you well. But my question is on the more vague one. What about the ethics, the morality of the financial services industry? I've asked this question before informally to people, and they say, well, they're responsible to their shareholders. But so are my painters, so are my car dealers. What about the issue of responsibility to customers, where you actually want your customers to succeed, where you actually want to put out a product which will help them meet the financial needs of their family? Where does that come into all these discussions?
I think it's incredibly important. I think it's the heart of any good business is ethical treatment of your employees and your customers and so on. And my experience is that among bankers, like in any other group of people, there's some who are very ethical and some who are not. And in the cases of those who are not, we need to make sure there's adequate protections, like a Better Business Bureau, if you will. In the case of the overdraft protections, the Fed recently put out rules requiring opt-in on debit card ATM transactions. You have to opt in order to be charged, to be allowed to overdraw and receive an overdraft fee.
But you did not do anything about this computer program that processes them from larger to smaller, did you?
We did not in that particular rulemaking because it was part of the Electronic Funds Transfer Act did not have a place to put that in, so to speak. But we are, in fact, looking at those practices, and we will try to address them. They're not completely straightforward because there are arguments for the big one first, because people want to make sure that their mortgage gets paid before their coffee gets paid. But
well, I've heard that from local bankers many a time.
Well, in any case, we're looking at that very seriously, and we will try to come up with a solution that will address the problem you're talking about.
Because, you know, it is, I mean, I've had the personal experience of going in and checking a balance before I get some cash out on a Saturday, and it says I got $130, and I take out $100, and then because of the reprocessing, in fact, that this actually was experienced several years ago where it did push me into an overdraft, but it was one that they had formally said to me, yes, you have enough money. I mean, that's how nefarious it is, and most people don't do online. Most people don't follow it like I do, because I'm so intrigued by what they're doing. They're just preying on people. I just think it's very, very difficult to deal with all the issues that the chairwoman wants to deal with, what Ms. Sanchez was talking about. If there's a morality in the industry that says ultimately our goal is to get money from people, not necessarily to see them have a successful commercial real estate venture or a successful home loan, but to package and sell and move on. And I don't know how we get at that in this industry very well. Thank you.